Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're going to talk about, in the off season, should you have periods of dieting, or Adam, as the kids say, cutting. So we have some cutting phases in there. So what do you think? If you're going to have a full year off season, are you gaining weight and body fat to the point where then you need to have a little dieting phase and then gain again and diet again?
As long as all goes well, you should be able to just keep your approach going into the off season. If you do get to a body fat that you find is unreasonable, you could maybe taper that back a little bit. But you will find that going back to the transition phase, usually you have to eliminate quite a bit of calories to get that downward movement again. So if you're gaining weight, the amount of calories it takes to lose is usually much less than you would expect it to be. So it can really come at a cost. Then you have to take that time to build back up. So the key is to really manage everything well so you don't have to do a cutting phase. And maybe just consider starting your cut earlier versus, dropping down and then going back up.
I totally agree. And this is a place where, just like where we left off in the last episode, we talked about sensitivity to things like protein. And if you just scale up, your body becomes very resilient to that, just like insulin and carbohydrates. So that is a very, very tiny potential place where a decrease in your calories could make you more sensitive to then some more off-season gain. But Adam makes the brilliant point that if you're in the middle of an off-season that may be pretty short-lived anyway, 6 to 12 months, and all of a sudden you're spending 4 to 6 weeks kind of dieting and then having to build back up, you're really losing a big chunk of your potential. So don't think there has to be this constant dynamic flow of up, down, always doing something. Once you get above your metabolic set point and you're at a place where you are, eating enough food to support really good training, just the little micro movements of how you handle your pre-workout and your post-workout food can have dramatic effect. Maybe your supplementation, of course, the training stimulus itself, but you could go 2, 3, 4, 5 years staying at a certain body fat or body comp range and have a remarkable off season. You don't have to keep coming up and down to get those results. Do you agree with that, Adam?
I definitely agree. So, yeah, your off season's not 4 months if you end up taking 2 months cutting, or it's not 6 months if you take 2 months cutting. You just weren't on stage in 6 months.
So I'll give you an example of what you said, Adam. I have a client right now. We spent a year competing. He won his pro card. Then he competed in his first couple pro shows. Now we're in the off season. And we did that reversing metabolic building up to the point where he's gained about 20 pounds very slowly over 6 months. We're looking at pictures. We're looking at body composition. And you reach a point where it's just a law of diminishing return issue where you're just, gaining more body fat, more weight isn't going to help. So we tapered off his food. We settled in at a weight that we just arbitrarily said, this is where we're doing our best work. And now, because of just that metabolic activity, he occasionally sees himself drift down a pound or two, and then it might come back up. But we almost have a goal of saying, let's let that backward drift come down about 5 pounds. We're not reducing food. We're not dieting. It's essentially the gains he's incurring in strength and lean body mass are creating new metabolic activity. So very soon, we're going to actually be able to start adding food back again. So without having to diet, we've had this little micro burst of sensitivity where he's started to lose again, and we can, trigger some new gains by being able to add more food without more body fat.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a perfect example of how, an off season should go. And I assume you're probably doing his training as well to kind of see that change in strength and performance as well.
Absolutely. We just finished a pretty aggressive strength phase where we backed off training to just 3 days a week. Now we're adding a 4th day, moving away from some of the just super heavy squatting and deadlifting. So absolutely, coinciding nutrition with training is always important. So All right, guys, we'll wrap up here for this one. We're going to talk one more time about this, planning your off-season series in the next episode. And so we'll look forward to seeing you there where we can put a nice, pretty bow on this series. We'll catch you then.